ChrystalChyna, and we're back with another episode of Musicology 101. Let's get it!
We are so happy to be back with another episode of Musicology 101. And not too many church announcements.
Not too many. It's been a great few months for Chyna and I.
Yes.
If you guys didn't know, Chyna and I, we launched a walking club, a fitness club, right here in our community. So that's been going great. We're still out there promoting Jane.
Yes. If you don't know already, we have a new single out. It's called Jane
on all streaming platforms. So go listen to that. Yes, but it's been a great few months.
And we're just excited for summer.
Yeah, we're very excited for summer and all the lovely and fun things that are coming. Yeah, so we're just gonna get right into it.
Yes.
I think this is probably the second Philly legend. He is the epitome of Philly, the sound of Philadelphia. That's all him right there.
Yeah.
And I said he, so that's the only hint I'm gonna give you, and I did say Philly, so I think y'all can guess where we're going with this.
Right.
Without further ado, let's do the drum roll, please. Teddy Pendergrass, let's get it!
Teddy Pendergrass, or Mr. Pendergrass, was born Theodore Doris Pendergrass on March 26, 1950 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, some sources may say he was born somewhere in South Carolina, but when I did my research and I looked on his official website, it did say he was Philly born and raised. So that's what we're gonna go with. The only child of Jesse and Ida Geraldine Pendergrass, Teddy's mother, Ida, she suffered 6 miscarriages before she was finally able to carry a pregnancy to full term, which was Teddy.
As a small child, Teddy's father ended up leaving the family, but it was around Teddy being 2.5 years old when he got up and sang his first song in church.
Right.
Teddy grew up in an impoverished neighborhood in North Philadelphia, and he had dreams of becoming a pastor. And apparently, by the time he was 10, he was already an ordained minister. Now, I don't know how that went back then, but apparently he got his papers, okay?
And he had the anointing.
Yeah, he did.
Although Teddy had aspirations of becoming a pastor, music still maintained its place in his life. By the time he was 13 years old, he found himself playing the drums. It was a drum set at his mother's work. She was a dishwasher, and he just went on stage and started playing it. He basically taught himself how to play the drums. He was not in any lessons. Nobody ever, trained him. He trained himself, and that's what we about to get into as far as how he became the Teddy P.
Teddy also sang with the Edison Master Singers while he attended Thomas Edison High School for boys. However, Teddy did end up dropping out of school in the 11th grade just so that he can enter into the music business. And he went on to record his very first record, which was called Angel with Muddy Feet.
The song didn't really go anywhere. It was not a commercial success. However, Uncle Teddy's skills as a drummer, it did land him several gigs with different bands around the town. So, he was still pursuing it. So he didn't necessarily give up, but singing was not like the first.
It wasn't picking up as fast.
Yeah, it wasn't picking up as fast, exactly. 1970, Harold Melvin, the founder of the group, the Blue Notes, hired Teddy as a drummer. And ironically, during the gig, while Teddy was playing the drums, he also started singing along. And I couldn't really find anything if they knew prior that he was like a singer. But it really did impress Harold Melvin. And by then, he just was like, oh, we can make some arrangements. And he basically added him to the group and made him lead singer.
The Blue Notes did struggle to find success right before Teddy was ever in the group. But when Teddy was officially assigned as lead singer, they had no trouble. They were able to sign to Philadelphia International by 1971, which later landed a successful collaboration between Teddy and Gamble and Huff. In 1972, the group, now going by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, released their hit single, I Miss You. Oh my gosh.
You know, that song, like within like I would say like the past couple of years has been going viral on TikTok or all over social media. And I'm like,
a part of me is glad.
Yes, a part of me is glad. But
I just feel
I'm
like
trying to know the history behind, like,
I want y'all to really appreciate
it. I do. I don't want
not just like a viral sound.
Jokes.
Yes, it's like appreciate the music.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
I miss you, baby.
Miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you. Miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you. See, I grew up. Those are the kind of songs that my grandma would have playing
while she was making us a pancake breakfast.
Yes, okay?
With the edges.
Exactly. So I'm like, even though I clearly didn't grow up in the 70s,
it felt like it.
I felt the nostalgia just from a small child.
Exactly.
You know. Hey.
Oh, okay, moving on. That hit song, I Miss You, was originally written for the Dells. However, they did pass on it.
Yeah.
And they could have done a great job too.
Because Teddy's voice is very reminiscent of Marvin Jr. So,
how should I tell you?
The love we had stays on my mind.
You hear the similarity. Yes. The song proved to be a big success because it went number 7 on the R&B chart and number 58 on the pop chart. So, I mean,
yeah,
you know,
adding Teddy,
that was the $1 billion deal right there.
Yeah. And the follow-up hit, I mean, they just kept coming with it. You know, Teddy was the extra sauce.
He was the gravy.
He was. Okay. The follow-up single was If You Don't Know Me By Now. And, you know, I mean, I know there's a lot of probably young people or people that love 80s music that think that that's Simply Red's song. And I'm like, no, that's Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. That's Teddy P singing that song. Know me by now, you will never ever know me.
That's actually one of the first old school songs I learned as a little girl, because I remember those compilation CD commercials that used to come on TV. I remember back in like the 90s or 2000s.
Yeah, that was one of the
songs.
Yeah,
I was there. Was actually, this is another song meant for another group. The song, y'all won't even believe who this song was meant for. This song was meant for LaBelle. Yes, that LaBelle, featuring Patti LaBelle, Nona Hendrix, and Sarah Dash. Okay. Yes. But they couldn't record the song due to scheduling conflicts.
But I can hear them.
I can hear it too.
I can hear them singing that song.
During Teddy's time with the group, they continued to release major hits, you guys, back to back. Songs like Bad Luck, Don't Leave Me This Way, which later went on to become a big disco hit for Miss Thelma Houston.
Period.
I love both versions.
Yes.
Love I Lost, which honestly is like my Saturday morning song. I have this thing, like when I wake up in the morning on Saturdays, when I'm at home, I'm off, I have to put that era of music on.
Yeah. The love I lost was a sweet love. The love I lost. The love I lost. I would never love again.
Like Sybil's version?
Yes.
I love her version.
Yes.
So pop.
I lost.
And then Hope That We Could Be Together Soon, of course, from Miss Sharon Page.
Yes.
Hope that we can be together soon. We sound like a compilation CD. I hope that we can be together soon.
Yeah.
Make it a real
In 1975, in lieu of all of this success, all of these songs that we just mentioned, unfortunately, Mr. Harold Melvin and Uncle Teddy, they started butting heads. And remember, you know how in the beginning we were saying it was called the Blue Notes. The group was just called the Blue Notes. Well,
once Teddy started asserting that dominance, but it was that voice.
It was the voice. Well, Harold Melvin, because he's the founder, he decided, oh no, it's gonna be Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. And so because people are like, oh, like he must be the lead singer then. Like they're mistaking Teddy for Harold, right? Because Teddy is clearly the one doing the lead vocals, but it's not Teddy Pendergrass in the Blue Notes.
Right.
And they're like, oh no, this is Harold right here, even though he was just in the back with all the other fellas.
Exactly.
So, you know, and Teddy kind of started feeling like it should be called Teddy Pendergrass in the Blue Notes, which is understandable. But Harold, you know,
I'm the one selling all the records.
Yeah, like, you know, it was like that thing. You know, in the industry, it can be a lot of egos. So, you know, no tea, no shade to Mr. Harold Melvin's family.
He had to,
but he had to establish his dominance, even though clearly he's not the front man.
Right.
You know.
And those were not his vocals.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So,
he had to assert dominance some type of way.
Exactly. So
there we have it.
Not to mention Harold was in charge of the group's finances too. So, you know, it was more than just, you know, who's in front, whose name is on it. He was in charge of the money too. So when the money also gets funny, I can see how that can make a person want to
chuck up the deuces.
And that is exactly what Teddy Pendergrass did.
And rightfully so.
And I mean, after Teddy left the group, it was hard for Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes to maintain the success they had when the Sauce was still in the group. So they eventually departed from Philly International. And Teddy, since he still had a great relationship with Gamble and Huff, I mean,
like we said,
this started
their relationship.
Exactly, an impactful collaboration. So by 1977, he released his self-titled debut album. The album actually did well for a debut album for any artist. It reached number 17 on the US Billboard 200 and number 5 on the Billboard R&B album chart. So, you know,
I mean,
he just came in with it.
Yeah, Harold was trying to be funny. He was laughing all the way to the chart.
Yeah, so
the singles from the album, I Don't Love You Anymore, and The Whole Town's Laughing at Me, became top 20 R&B hits. And those singles were produced by Gamble and Huff and McFadden and Whitehead. And we all know McFadden and Whitehead.
There's been so many things that's held us down,
but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long, long way to go. And where we'll end up, I don't know.
That's our theme song.
The album was quickly followed by Life is a Song Worth Singing in 1978. This album surpassed the success of his debut album when it had that hit, honey, that y'all all know what I'm talking about. Close the Door.
Close the Door.
Which went number 1 and got him 1 million copies sold.
Yeah, I mean,
baby, I got so much love to give. I want to give it all to you. I waited all day long just to hold you in my arms. And it's exactly like I thought it would be. Me loving you and you loving me. Ooh. Close the door, baby. Ooh.
Yes. Music,
man. Close the Door earned him his very first Grammy nomination for Best R&B. male vocal performance.
Teddy was now established as a sex symbol, and the hits kept coming and coming from this album alone, including When Somebody Loves You Back. Okay, now we talking about a 50-50 love.
Not 70-30.
Talking about a 50-50 love. So good, loving somebody.
When somebody loves you back,
and that's a fact. Yeah.
Yes.
I just miss the simplicity of lyrics.
I do too. Honestly, you know, it's so funny. That song helped me with math growing up.
Oh! Teddy was now the double platinum It Boy, and he followed up with two more albums, which were Teddy and his live album Live Coast to Coast.
The album Teddy stayed on the Billboard R&B charts for 8 weeks, and it was named the second biggest R&B album of that year. Notable hits from that album included Come On and Go With Me and Turn Off the Lights and Light a Candle.
Come Go With Me. Oh my
god.
Come On and Go With Me.
That's on my morning list.
Come on and go with me. Come on over to my place.
Yes.
That's like that getting off of work music.
I really should.
No, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Like, oh my god. That reminds me of my childhood. Like, but now as an adult, I totally.
Yeah, you resonate differently.
I resonate differently for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're in our love era, you guys. So.
Lover girls. Fresh off of his iconic and sexy tour in 1979, Teddy released another album, TP, in 1980, which included the hits Love TKO, Feel the Fire with Miss Stephanie Mills, Is It Still Good to You, which was the Ashford and Simpson composition as well.
Yes.
So another sexy album. He garnered 5 successful, first of all, it's platinum. 5 consecutive platinum albums between 1977 and 1981, and that's a major deal for an R&B artist back then, and of course that will be a major deal now as well, because if we're talking about like the late 70s going into the 80s, that's the disco and like pop rock era. So for him to be able to be doing that at that time, that was a big deal. And have you seen clips from them shows?
I know. They don't do shows like that. They don't do
shows like that anymore. And not only to mention that his manager, Shep Gordon, because they noticed that majority of the audience was women of all different races. So it was actually, if you guys see any women only concerts, it was Teddy Pendergrass that
he was the first usher.
Innovator. Exactly. Okay. He was the first usher. He's the one that innovated that. So if you look at the way Usher performs, especially now, how he interacts with the crowd, like in Vegas, Uncle Teddy did it first. If you go look at clips, they even had like Teddy jeans, teddy bears, and had all that merch.
Exactly, yeah.
He's the one that did it first, literally, like, and for the ladies.
Exactly.
You know,
he really branded himself
as Teddy Bear.
Teddy Bear.
Yeah.
Teddy's sex appeal had his contemporaries literally scrambling to get their next erotic hit off.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds so wrong, but y'all know what I mean. Okay, because Teddy was also becoming like this pioneer of that quiet storm genre that we all know and love today. Because that wasn't really like necessarily a genre of what it is now, right? And I mean, I could even say Marvin Gaye is probably, well, I'll just say rumored, allegedly. Allegedly one of those contemporaries that was trying to beat him to the punch to get an erotic hit. And you know, that's why we have songs like Sexual Healing. And rumor has it that the Isley Brothers, they released Don't Say Goodnight basically in response to Close the Door, but it was really so they can beat him on the charts. But it's almost they needed a song like Close the Door.
Don't say good night when you know I gotta have your love. Bring that back.
Yeah, let's bring that back. Healthy competition. Nobody had to get killed.
Teddy P was on top of the world until March 18th, 1982, when tragedy struck. He was involved in a horrific car accident that left him with a spinal cord injury, and it actually just paralyzed him, and he would never walk again. So when you look at those old videos of him, you know, being a performer, because he was more than just a singer,
right?
He was a performer. The way that we knew him, or I would say, I mean, they knew him, because I wasn't born yet.
Right.
But they knew him. It just was never going to be the same. Teddy released 2 more albums under Philadelphia International between 1982 and 1983. They were called This One's For You and Heaven Only Knows. Both of the albums included material that was recorded before the accident happened. So, you know, he had to finish out his contract, and
they didn't see the same success.
Yeah, they didn't see the same success because
this was a terrible. Oh my god.
Yeah, like I'm not going.
I'm glad I wasn't alive.
I know. I'm like, y'all talk about cancel culture now. Back then they just were canceled. I'm like, damn, he just got in a car accident.
We're not
his fault.
You know, once again, this is not a
scandal
page, so we're not gonna get into, I guess, the scandal of the car accident. It's just the backlash that he received really did affect his music and his career. It did, and not even in the way of literally him being paralyzed and later
not being able to live as he once did.
Exactly.
It's just that
it's the fact that even the rumors, that were coming from that, like, unfortunately within our community, we're not the most accepting of things. I don't think anybody really knows everything that happened.
Right.
It's so many different stories, but it's just the fact that his career was literally tarnished. This man that was once so loved, you know what I mean? So we'll leave it there. After Teddy decided to return to the music world again after his recovery, he did have a hard time finding a record deal. He eventually signed to Asylum Records, where he went on to release Love Language in 1984. The album was certified gold, and it included a duet with a not yet known baby, little Whitney Houston.
Yes.
A song called Hold Me. In July of 1985, Teddy made a historic live return at the Live Aid concert in Philly. Oh my god, like, if you guys have not seen that footage, I want you guys to watch it. I believe, because I haven't seen the footage in a while, but I believe they're singing "Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand." And we know how quickly that's an iconic. It literally could be a church song. That's an iconic Motown song. It literally Ashford and Simpson. Yes. So they're next.
This concert had everybody and their mama there. Okay. So for Uncle Teddy, to make his first appearance post recovery, post physical therapy, and of course, it not in the way that he was used to, but still to be received well. I'm sure that was everything. By 1988, Teddy released Joy.
Joy me. We are so old.
Which was his first R&B hit in nearly a decade, and its video was in heavy rotation on BET. Now, I was born like 16 years after BET became BET, but I remember watching that video on BET. So I must assume that it means a lot to the video rotation of BET.
He continued to record music throughout the 90s, and he even went on tour to do a stage play with Miss Stephanie Mills in a play called Your Arms Too Short to Box with God. In 1998, Teddy went on to release his autobiography, Truly Blessed.
And Teddy, on Valentine's Day, actually, in 2002, he performed at the Wiltern here in LA. And he recorded a live album there called From Teddy with Love. By 2006, Teddy did announce his retirement from music, but he did briefly return to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the car crash to honor, his resilience and, those who always supported him, his fans, which was major, and I think around this time as well, he did get married too. So, I mean, he continued on with his life.
Right.
I don't want people to think that, sure,
I know
that was a hard time and life as he knew it was over, but he still continued to live after that. He successfully underwent surgery for colon cancer, but not too long after, he did start having respiratory issues. And in January of 2010, he did succumb to respiratory failure. I don't know how to say this, but
I know it's hard when these things like have this ending, because the triumph was that he got a second chance at life, because he could have left us then. He got a second chance, and he did lose life the way that he knew it, but he was able to overcome. And Teddy Pendergrass became like the face of, like Chyna was talking about, resilience. He did face a lot. He faced a lot of backlash from his own community, and while also trying to recover and trying to live a normal life again, but he fought back. And I remember when he passed away. I mean, I was shocked because he had already lived with this, right? Like, what's that, right? So like, but at the same time, like, in those conditions, maybe he's at peace now, right? And that's all that I can hope, right? That he's just at peace, and that all that's said and done is done with. So I definitely believe that he's at peace. I believe he's at peace. He endeavored. He a smart businessman. Yes. I mean, I am glad that I at least think that Teddy Pendergrass is one of the old school singers that the young kids do know. So even though it's like, we still gotta work on some. Right. Oh, he could have done much more. But a lot of his songs are very recognizable, and I take pride in that, because you could be naming some of the most. I feel like you should know that, and the kids don't know. But for the most part, as much as I've seen, they do recognize. And even if they don't necessarily know that much, they do know "Miss You" just from TikTok. Exactly. They know. I mean, they hear his samples all the time. Back in the day, I'm not a kid. That's Teddy Pendergrass. I wish I was a kid again. Like, that's Teddy P. Like, what do you mean? It's not like I'm talking about like something from the 20s that is like a rare cut that it only sold regionally. Like, I'm talking about this song is like what do you mean you don't know? Right. Like, it be almost making me really upset, and not because like I'm trying to show that I'm just so much smarter. It just shows me like we have so much work to do when it comes to preserving our culture. They're already trying to take our culture away from us, and like we literally have to stop and focus. And it's literally it's okay to go back and read. It is okay to go back and watch. Why you still can? Why we still have the access to these things? Like, please, like, we need to. And I am so serious. We have to preserve our history. Music literally tells the story of our history. I get so upset like when people just do not understand even the basics of things. We have to preserve our history, and I am specifically talking about Black history. This is our history. This is so rich, and it's something to be so proud of. You should know the basics. The whole point is we're just glad that Teddy Pendergrass's music, however way, is getting to people, young people especially, is getting there. And we just want to preserve it. Right. Thank you, Chyna. She knows I get passionate. Yeah, no, we're just passionate because it's like, listen, history was one of our favorites. It was our subject, honey.
And so this means so much to us, and Mr. Teddy Pendergrass's music means so much to us. It's like the soundtrack of our life.
Yeah.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Let us know again who you guys want to see on the next episode. We already have a few in the,
that we are
in the bag that we already been, working on.
But if you have somebody, I want to hear that one.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. We love you guys.
We love you guys.
Bye.